Hey guys, what's going on? It's Incursor AGK. It's been a long minute since I've done a video on anything really, especially as far as reviews go. I've only made one other gaming review, I think, in my entire life, and that was the Sword Art Online and Axel World game that came out about a year or so ago. Anyways, I just kind of wanted to address in this video. I'm going to keep it nice and short. I'm just going to let some gameplay I captured in the background kind of play out there. And as you can actually see, if you look at my character stats, I've only played, well, actually by the time of the recording this video, maybe just a little over 4 hours of God Eater 3. And now I looked up a lot of reviews on YouTube, and I looked into the game itself just because I didn't know if I wanted to pay. Well, it was like a 10% discount on the PlayStation Store, I believe. But I wanted to make sure, I was going to buy a game that I was going to actually play. And considering that the only real experience I have with the God Eater franchise is with God Eater 2 Rage Burst, and the fact that I dropped that game super quickly just because there were just other games that came out at the time, and I don't know, I just kind of just dropped off with it. I wanted to make sure that this was going to be a game that I would play. And so obviously a lot of people are comparing God Eater 2 Monster Hunter, and I do like Monster Hunter, and I've been playing a lot of it recently, actually, which is why I've kind of actually have taken a look at possibly giving God Eater another chance, because they are similar, but they're not the same. And I see a lot of people comparing that the games are basically the same, or that God Eater, I saw some guy's video, he said God Eater is basically just an anime Monster Hunter, which everybody's entitled to their opinion, but he's just so wrong, because this game is nothing like Monster Hunter. Like, there are similarities, but it's just the contrast between the two is just so vast. I wouldn't really ever make that comparison, and I'm pretty sure Monster Hunter already has an animated thing. It's called like Monster Hunter Frontier or something. I'm not exactly sure, but I kind of want to let this just be a video that just kind of, it's an unbiased video because I'm not completely familiar with the game franchise or really games that are like it, except for Monster Hunter. So as I said, they're similar, but they are very different. So if anybody, continues to kind of like put that in videos and whatnot, it's kind of, you're kind of just beating a dead horse with an inaccurate statement that they're basically the same game. So anyways, let's just get down to kind of like the basics of the game. So the combat, I've heard a lot of people say that the combat feels clunky, and that might be from the older games, and maybe with the demo, because a lot of the reviews that are out so far are with the demo gameplay. A lot of people are saying that the fighting feels clunky, but I didn't get that feeling at all. It's very easy to transition the map. To fight is just, it feels good. It feels like really smooth and fluid. Obviously it does depend on what weapon you choose. I chose this like half moon scythe looking thing. That's pretty interesting so far, so it's not a bad weapon. What was this? Some guy, I watched some video of some guy was complaining that, and he referenced Monster Hunter again, complaining that when you hit an origami, the enemies in this game, with a weapon, he doesn't feel like he's something stupid. He said he wasn't, like, he didn't feel like the weight of the weapon, if that makes sense, I guess is what he's trying to get across. Something crazy. People were just like, all the reviews I saw on this game were so, like, a lot of them were basically people just coming in to just drop negativity and critique the game because negativity is what sells, It's kind of like what gets views sort of thing. And, whatever, you want views for your channel, cool, whatever. I honestly could care less. But the thing is, when you come at like a game like that and you just come in it with a very negative mindset, you're giving everybody a bad opinion of the game, including yourself, especially because a lot of these people, it was just the demo. and it's very off-putting that there's a lot of people that have been doing reviews like that. So it's like every review you click, you're like, they just start off with the negatives off the bat. So the gameplay to me does not feel clunky. It actually feels pretty smooth. I saw a lot of people complaining about the controls are not, I don't know how to put this, accurate, or the button layout is stupid, is what a lot of people are saying. But and the same guy with the weapon thing, it was like, oh well, I've been playing games for like years. It's like my job, to review games on YouTube and yada yada yada. And he's basically like, I can basically pick up any button control, but I think it's not good for people that are trying to get fresh into the game. And it's insane. So basically, I played minimal of God Eater 2 Rage Burst, was whatever. Don't even remember the controls to it. Hopped into this, and yeah, the controls are different from some other games I've played, but they're not hard to pick up. So I don't understand why a lot of people are complaining about the controls. And this game has such a niche fan base in the first place that none of those people are going to complain about it. And so when you think about it in the big grand picture scheme of things, Bandai Namco and basically the other groups behind this game, they already had a target audience to sell this game to. Now obviously it's going to sell to those people because they're fans of the game, just like any other game series that has a fanboy base or has that niche little group to it. So I'm sure a lot of those people are fine with the controls because they've been playing these games for who knows how long. And people that are new to this game, to this franchise, are obviously going to pick up the controls, no problem, if they really want to play the game. Like that's not hard at all. I don't see why people had to be so negative and critical about it when I just don't understand. Like, shooting to me was maybe the hardest thing to do, and that's, people don't even use the guns in the game, hardly, at least not that I've seen. So as far as the gameplay and controls goes, the game seems fine to me. The music, I mean, it's your standard JRPG music, in my opinion. It fits the mood. It's got a lot of orchestra and kind of like vocal music behind it. I don't even know what you call that. Obviously, orchestra is like the instruments. I'm trying to think. Is it a chorus? Maybe is what you would call it. I'm not really sure, but obviously it has singers with the music, but it's more of just like chanting like vocal things. So that's kind of like the majority of the music in here. I think the graphics are fine. I hear a lot. I heard a lot of people complaining about the graphics and how it didn't look good and whatnot. But you have to remember, this entire game series is supposed to be anime-esque. It's supposed to be, appealing to kind of the anime art style, and I think it does a really good job of that. The characters look really well designed. Yeah, they're obviously, the typical anime-looking characters. They're slim and built. The women have, the big breasts, and whatnot. But it fits the game, and the enemies look alright in the anime form, so I'm not really seeing a big issue with that. The anime opening is great. Obviously, it's not in here. You can find that on YouTube also if you really wanted to watch it. But it plays every time at the beginning of the game, and that's just another simple little addition added to the game. That if you're a huge fan of this series and you like that little opening, it gets you hyped to play every time. Not a lot of games do that. Let's see here. As far as enemies are concerned, there's not a huge. Well, I guess there is a gap between what you would call the grunts versus the bosses. So the grunts are just gonna be like the simple enemies to kill, and there's maybe about several of them, and then a big boss shows up, and they're kind of a bit beefier and more tanky, but they're not too hard to take out. So as far as enemies are concerned, so far what I've played, there's been a huge variety of them, and they seem very different. And I guess I don't really, like I said, I don't really know a whole lot about all what the enemies are and everything, but so far the storyline, the gameplay fits the storyline. in my opinion, because a lot of people want to compare this game to Monster Hunter, but if you think about it, Monster Hunter, when you're stalking the monster and then you fight it, and then it's more of a calmer pace and it's more critical thinking, you know, kind of like, well, not even critical thinking, it's more of you can take it slower because the monsters aren't flying around or attacking as viciously as they do in God Eater. So the gameplay for Monster Hunter is a lot calmer than versus God Eater. On the other hand, the gameplay is it's drastically different. It's much faster. You lose health a lot quicker, in my opinion. Obviously, I think you have more than you might do in Monster Hunter. But enough of that. I'm not trying to make any more like huge comparisons. The fact is, none of the game is unlike a game like Monster Hunter that doesn't really have a storyline as it does a campaign to introduce you to the monsters that you'll be grinding for hours and hours, hundreds of thousands of hours possibly. This game introduces you more to an actual story with characters and, you know, a world that it introduces you to that kind of makes you feel a part of it because it tries to absorb you in that. And then, you know, the fighting is fast-paced because to the storyline, these creatures aren't something you want to, you know, be hanging out with, and you're obviously not going to carve them up like in Monster Hunter. Like, you're out to destroy these things because they're ruining the world, you know? So, obviously, that's why the gameplay is faster, in my opinion. It just makes sense, you know? It shouldn't be slow and methodical. It should be fast, and, you know, your characters are power-induced, trying to take out these enemy creatures. But the game overall, as it's released so far, in my opinion, is fine, and I feel like a lot of the people that wanted to be critical about the game without giving it kind of a real chance, regardless if it was a demo or not, and I know that's not a lot of people's fault. It's, you know, the faults of companies like EA, you know, that have just completely ruined the gaming market as it is. But a lot of the people that want to be critical without giving a game an actual chance or being open-minded to a game, it's just disappointing, and it's super unnecessary. I feel, especially nowadays, where you should be able to look at a game and you can see the negatives to it, whatever you decide that is, but then remember, on the other side of that, there's plenty positives to counter that. So the game is fine, and like I said earlier, this fan base to God Eater is, you know, they're already going to get the game. You're not going to change a hardcore fan's mind about a game by releasing negative videos about said game before it comes out. Those people have already pre-ordered, those people have already decided that they're going to get it, and that's because the previous entries to them were already good, so an entry that's coming out later can only be better from there. So, overall, the game is fine so far. And like I said, I've only played a little over 4 hours of it, and this video is actually going a little longer than I wanted it to. But that's just what I kind of want to open you guys' like eyes up to, and to see that is that the game is not bad at the state that it's in, and that if you are playing it, you should enjoy it. And if you're still thinking that, oh, this game looks like crap, or it's gonna suck, I'm not gonna get it, well, that's your opinion. Then don't get it. Then don't even, like, why are you still hanging around the game? It just released, what, today? Then move on. Find something else. There's plenty of other games out there. Boom. Monster Hunter. There you go. If that's more of your speed. This game is more based for the fans that are already, you know, enjoying this and have been waiting for this game to come out. And if you're pretty new to the franchise like me, and you hop into a game like this because you enjoy the anime-esque style, you enjoy monster hunting type games, and fast-paced action games at that too, go ahead and hop in. I mean, it's not a bad game. So, anyways, that's all I've got. Kind of went on a little bit of a tangent rant. No big deal. Overall basis I want to get across is the game God Eater 3 has released, and so far it's fine. I don't see any real problems with it. And it's also just upsetting to see people really just putting games down before they even get a chance to come out. I know Anthem is suffering the same thing right now, but of course EA is directly related to that, and it's kind of upsetting when people try to do that to Bandai Namco games and games kind of that are JRPG-ish, because if you think about it, most games that release over there are a lot better in that aspect than here. Like, they don't get cheated out as much as kind of in like our games do, if that makes sense a little bit. But overall, I mean, it's a game, man. If you want to play it, you're gonna play it. If you don't, then you're not going to. But just wanted to give it my 2 cents, just to kind of lift the criticism levels up just a little bit in your, if you're watching reviews out there. So, anyways, I might release some other videos based on God Eater 3, depending how far I get, maybe what I think about it further down the line. But until then, hope you guys have an awesome day, and just keep doing it,